The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
All right, back on the Domino's postgame report as Carson-Newman throttles Erskine by a final score of 37-0. Adam Cavalier joined by head football coach Mike Clowney. Mike, what a night. First Saturday night game in October at Berktar Stadium since 1984. You wear the black jerseys. A lot of good vibes tonight, and it adds up in a 37-0 win over the Flying Fleet. Let's talk defense. Good Lord. Creating turnovers, forcing 3 and outs. What did you see from that side of the football today?
I thought that side of the ball played with great energy from beginning to end. I thought they did a really good job of executing. I think they, with that crowd, one thing I think you noticed during practice this week is they know they had some miscues last week, after the performance they put together the week before. And so that's what we talked about over and over and over, finding that consistency. So for them to be able to get back on the field and challenge themselves, as well as Erskine today was something that was good to look at.
At the half, you told our sideline reporter, Leanda Carey, that you wanted more consistency out of the offense. And what do? 2 lengthy drives, stick them both in the end zone. What did you see from your team that admittedly banged up in the backfield, running the ball pretty much at will after halftime?
I think that's one thing our kids at halftime felt like, for the most part, they were in control of the game, but it wasn't translating, And so I had to be a translator. It didn't matter yards and I'm bashing him or, I can control this. If it's not going from here to that scoreboard, then it's not really happening. So they took that challenge and come right back in with the football and go score. Running backs I thought did a good job with that, but offensive line, did a good job of controlling the ball and helping us move the ball second half.
Got a lot of different guys, a lot of reps, especially in the fourth quarter. Walker Bunce, who's been with the program for a minute, gets his first career carries. Seth Cooper, Don Dunning, they run the ball well. Caleb Keeter finds the ball in his hands. How gratifying is it to see some of those guys who have been with the program for a minute or two, in Dunning and Cooper's case, their first years, get to see some fruits of their labor pay off today?
That's awesome because, you put in so much work into this, and it's competitive nature, and not everybody's always first or second team, but that's one of the reasons you come to a program like this, to try to be able to have an opportunity to get a feel and play in some games. It's good for us as coaches because as a coach, nobody believes us, but you play what you see, and that's primarily in practice. And it's always good to kind of get guys in a game to see them respond in a game type environment.
Happens defensively too. Cam Henson has played. It's not like he's an end-of-the-bench guy, but not one of the starters. But a pick six, a batted ball that he intercepts to essentially seal the shutout. Again, another moment for a guy that isn't an every-down guy, but has some opportunities and made some massive plays late for you.
Cam's a good player, and that's where, he's kind of one of those guys that's been on the fringe. That's a place, at safety, once you kind of settle in with some guys, sometimes it's hard to kind of, go throw another guy out there. But, he had an opportunity to play today and made some really good plays for us.
Frank Lee continues to just do Frank Lee things defensively. He was a nightmare, it felt like, for Erskine to deal with. Him and the entire front four, what'd you see from that unit?
Frank not played a lot of football, but starting to kind of get a feel for the game. A couple times I saw him drop off, and we got Frank drop back. But he did a great job. And then just kind of the other guys up front just continue to work and gel together. Those guys work, really. I've never seen a group of guys that work so well with one another, kind of rolling in the game, out of the game, supporting one another, and they're fun to coach.
Yeah, I think it was maybe in the hallway Friday, you and I were chatting, and you kind of just got to win special teams today. I think that was the exact statement. You block a punt, you make 3 field goals, including 2 42-yarders. You kick every kick, but the first one was a touchback, and Christian Irwin, another one, he somehow checked at the 5 like a punt that pinned him inside their 15. What did you see from that side of the football today?
That's something we talked, like you and I talked about, the block punt. We knew that was something that was there that we needed to capitalize on. They've punted 2 different guys, and they've struggled a little bit there. So we knew that was something that we needed to capitalize on. But the field goals, that's another place that we've been a little bit inconsistent. But to be able to go in, hit 2 long field goals, to kind of get ourselves in a comfortable spot to where we can stretch the game, it's good. We got Michael Harrell was able to punt again today, Nate did a good job punting. And so those guys, I think we got as good a group in the country there, and it's just still trying to find that groove with those guys in that room. You know, the guy that you don't ever talk about is Bradshaw. The long snapper, man, just consistently does a good job for us. So it was good to see us put that together, special teams today.
More than 350 yards of offense. The bulk of that comes in the running game. We kind of touched on it, but break down the consistency after halftime to get things corrected where you had some drives stall out, but in the second half you finished them.
Yep. I mean, Tyree, I thought, not Tyree, but TC. You can always cross those names up. TC did a good job, had some really tough runs for us. You know, TJ King, you know, battled injury to be able to still come back out. I don't know what he finished with, but to kind of have a fair amount of, I'd say, yards, probably going 79 coming out of this game. You know, and a lot of those were just like second effort runs. But even when we put the young guys in, you know, they had some real hard nosed runs, and a lot of that, you know, always kind of goes back to the offensive line. You know, they felt like that we could get some movement up front, and they did a good job. But then once we got to the second level, I thought our backs did a good job of blocking for one another too.
You know, you never want to cheat the fans, and certainly doesn't feel like that tonight. Send the crowd home happy with a 37-0 win. With the black jerseys at night in October for the first time in 38 years. What do you look to improve upon from a performance like this with a tough road game ahead? Mars Hill throttled Emory and Henry today.
Yeah, that was something. I mean, this, like we talked about, this league, you just don't know what you're going to get from week to week. You know, the thing that we've got to do is we got to come in and we got to do a good job of preparing, you know, putting the game plan together. But then the big thing that we've got to do is make sure that we travel well and get physically and emotionally ready to go play a big football game next week.
All right, Mike Clowney, pleasure as always. Congratulations. First shutout for the Eagles since 2016. Winners 37-0 over the Erskine Flying Fleet.
Thank you.
It's Carson-Newman head football coach Mike Clowney. We roll on the Domino's postgame report. Cam Hinson is set to check in. Frank Lee set to check in when we come back after these messages. This is the Eagle Sports Network.
Don't know what to wear on